This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Mike, just want to throw a quick shout outs. I wanted to wear my league shirt tonight since we're a Dun Bowling League. The Bad Boys. Look at this. Yo, tell me this isn't a sweet design. Look at that. That thing is pretty cool, right? Bowling ball with the pin. I just had a rep since the league's over now, and I'm not gonna have any really reason to wear the shirt anymore. So I just wanted to throw shout outs too.
That's cool. So you guys all had the same shirt for league every week?
Yeah, my guy he makes them at a certain company, but man, they're great shirts, and they're like those the easy fabric. It's easy to bowl with. It's not that tight stuff.
No doubt. Man, a lot of action to review, Rob. A lot to get into tonight. So we're not going to keep the people waiting, but we got a surprise for the people. And if the people that didn't join us live right now, I know it's Sunday, I know it's Mother's Day, it's 7 p.m., et cetera, I get it. But the people who are listening to this tomorrow or perhaps Tuesday on their way to work or something, they're going to be severely disappointed that they didn't join us live tonight because we have quite a surprise for the people. Rob, on like Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, there was only one guy in this Final Four who had never been on our show, right? And Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, because I was super impressed by his performances on the show last weekend, I hit up Kevin McCune and I said, hey, if you got the time this week, come on. We'd love to have you on before the shows this weekend. You're the only guy we haven't had on. And, we'd love to chop it up for a few before the shows this weekend. It didn't work out because he had some personal commitments and stuff the night that we were going to do it on Thursday. So I told him, I said, well, listen, if you're not busy Sunday, regardless of how things go, if you want to join us, let me know. And to my great surprise, after the show today, I get a text on my phone from him saying, hey, I'm going to be driving home. If you guys are still down, I'd be available to come on if it works out. So might be a little technical, choppy on our end here tonight. Excuse us for that. But we do have Kevin McCune. Rob, let's bring him on. The man of the hour. What's up, Kevin? What's going on, man? Yo, first of all, from both of us, from all the Sweep the Rack crew here, Hoss, congratulations, man, and great bowling.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. So my first question is this, because I wanted to ask you this last week on Thursday. You won $100,000 today, son. What is that going to change for you? Talk about that for us.
Not sure yet. I haven't really thought about it. I just know I'm going to go golfing somewhere.
You got any places in mind?
I don't know. I'm going to be in Jupiter, Florida, so there's plenty of golf out there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and you are going to be in Florida. You're going to be in Florida for the Super Slam. And I believe because you beat Simonson, you guaranteed yourself a spot in the Super Slam. So that wouldn't have been the case if Bill would have won and you guys would have matched up. You would have been bowling for that as well. But because Buttriff beat Bill, you end up with a spot in the Super Slam. And I believe that's 5 guys competing for another $100,000. Am I right about that?
Yep. Another $100,000.
Man.
Yo, monumental win for this guy today. I mean,
Dude.
what a weekend, man. What a weekend. Now, I'm gonna give us some credit here, Rob. I am, because we've been paying attention. We knew his name coming into this season, okay? And when we did our season preview, we talked about some futures bets, right, that you and I would have made going into this season. And both of us on our list, we did not talk about it beforehand. There was no discussion. both of us had Kevin McCune to win a title at some point this year. And, we were down to one of our last shots here, okay? And it was one of the biggest stages of the year. But, yeah, he was able to get it done. I mean, Kev, that match today went about as well as I think you could have imagined it. Can you talk about that for a minute?
It definitely caught me off guard. I mean, that's obviously that's how I imagined it to happen, but it caught me off guard because I didn't expect Jacob to not be able to find anything. I mean, Jacob normally can find something out of nothing and strike a ton. So I thought for sure we were going to go at least 4, if not the 5 games.
It's interesting you say that. Against Bill, he shot 176 the first game, and then came back and almost, I think, beat himself by almost 100, if not 100, that second game. I was waiting for that to happen today. Were you waiting for that point at all in the match where he was going to make a change or find it and start putting the pressure on you?
I was 100% expecting it. Like, there was no doubt that I was expecting to do it.
Yeah, I was surprised that it didn't happen. Rob, I'm sure you felt the same way while watching the match, especially after the rest of the action this weekend.
Yeah, I just kind of want to ask Kevin about, like, it didn't look like it didn't look like you had any nerves, man. If that was me, I would have been like shitting my pants. My knees would have been shaking. I'd have been sweating bullets. Yo, you were calm. I mean, even Randy talked about your first shot on the show today. You literally took a 9 out. Like, it was like a great shot. How did you keep your nerves so calm, or were you really nervous? You just didn't show it.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're getting a bad. Are you getting a bad connection, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh man, my question. Of course, my question it doesn't get answered.
Yeah, Rob Black clouds it.
I know, right?
All right, put him backstage.
All right, we'll get him back.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll get him back. We'll give it a minute and see if we can bring him back. But I mean, great way to kick off the show. And you're right, Rob. Like, he didn't really show a lot of nerves out there. It looked like he was pretty cool, calm, and collected the whole time. I mean, there wasn't a lot of points in the match where he was challenged or had a lot of pressure put on him.
I mean, yeah. Butcher, you talk about a perfect event for him or how things unfolded, right? Like, to try to to win your first major and your opponent is just struggling, right? I mean, Jacob wasn't finding anything. His reaction wasn't really good on the left lane. Let me bring him back here. I think we got him back.
Ahead.
All right, we got him back.
Go ahead, Rob.
So talk about your nerves. It didn't seem like you were nervous at all. Were you really nervous, or you just didn't show it?
I'm not a very nervous person in general. I mean, I played baseball on TV, and I came into a state championship game my sophomore year of high school with bases loaded, no outs. I mean, so I've been in situations that I felt pressure, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's what we're out there all doing for a living. So if I'm going to feel pressure trying to do this for a living, I got to put them aside and not show it, because if you show pressure, they're going to eat you alive.
Well, you have, he has his dad to draw on too, right? And I'm sure that he has been really influential in your bowling career in terms of preparing you for, moments like this, stages like this, etc. Yes?
A little bit, but me and my dad are completely opposite.
Yeah, we see that.
The way we go about doing stuff and just our demeanors in general are completely opposite of what he is and what I am. So I kind of just do my own thing, and what works for me doesn't work for him. I mean, if you watch his shows, he shows emotion on every shot.
I was going to say, but see, that's interesting to me, because, you would almost think the opposite, that you would burn hot when you're bowling too, like he did. And that's how I remember your dad as a professional bowler from watching him back in the day. And it's just interesting to me that when you logged out real quick, the term I used was cool, calm, and collected. I mean, that's how you looked out there. And yeah, it's just you're right. It is the opposite of what I was used to seeing from your dad. But man, some similarities in your game though, for sure.
Yeah.
Is that something that like was taught from when you were younger? Like, did your dad like coach you on the lanes and teach you your like how to like your style, or did he just or did you just like get a similar style from just watching him?
He never really taught me how to do it, but I mean, I just was it growing up in a bowling alley watching bowling, and I kind of just formed into my own person. But obviously, my
Oh, oh wait, I think we got
hold
back.
on, we're getting them back.
oh,
Go ahead,
got
go
it.
ahead, you're good.
Sorry, I was getting a phone call.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, I mean, my dad's helped me a little bit, but I kind of just created my own game. Like, I play the middle of the lane a lot better than what he has. He was really good at playing deep, and he was really good at playing, obviously, the 1-2 board. He has records playing the 1-2 board. But he was really good in front of the ball return as well. And my game, I'm kind of better when I can play smaller angles in the middle part of the lane.
Yeah, no doubt. I wanted to ask real quick about the ball choice today, because I just recognized that you used a different ball on the long pattern today than you did on the show previous. What was behind that decision? Did you just want a different look, or was it something that somebody else suggested?
So the match against EJ, I used a brutal collision, and the match against Zach, I used a brutal collision. But going into the second game against EJ later, I think it was frame 5 or 7. I switched to the innovator that I ended up using.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used that against Simo the whole time. And then I stuck with that today because it gave me the best shape to strike, I felt. Because it gave me a little bit more of a read and set look versus a flippy look. And it always read the lane for me. It gave me a truer read, even on not great shots.
That you're 100% on. I mean, that's exactly what I saw as well in terms of your ball reaction. So great choice there, I thought, because to me that was part of the difference in some of the matches that you bowled along the way, was just having that confident look on that left lane. But man, first title, major title. How's that feel, bro?
It's hard to describe. It's very, very hard to describe. All I gotta say is I have one up on my dad.
Mike,
man.
I got a question for Kevin. Does it make it any sweeter that you went through EJ and Simo to win that major?
100%. I mean, they're two of the greatest bowlers that are in the game, that are ever going to be in the game. And I mean, Buttripp's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point. EJ and Simo are for sure going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, to say it wasn't a challenging road would be a very big understatement.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought it was hilarious. Somebody sent out a meme last night there's like a meme where there's a bunch of doors. There's like 4 or 5 doors in a row, and behind the doors is some sort of powerhouse team. And then you have like the underdogs slaughtering them as they go along. And somebody sent that out with EJ and Buttripp, and I just thought it was hilarious. But it's true. I mean, and we totally. Like I feel like yes, you put a stamp on this one, my man. I mean, you took your flag and stuck it in the ground big time on this. $100,000 PBA major, makes the Super Slam this next week. Another opportunity to bowl on TV. Another opportunity for $100,000. I mean, really, you can't understate how big this win was for him. I'm probably being a little hyperbolic here because it's in the moment, but to me, this is one of the biggest first title wins ever in PBA history. Major title, $100,000, makes the Super Slam, shot at another $100,000. How many guys walked into that? I mean, if previously you won your first title, what'd you get? You got a shot at the Tournament of Champions, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't 100 G's, that's for sure. So, I mean, I think that an argument can be made that, even historically, like this win for you, Kev, is just such a big win. So, listen, it was awesome to watch you bowl this week. I was over at Carolier a lot. I got to watch all the matches that you bowled. Super impressed by your game. Somebody that I know actually texted me and said, that kid Kevin McCune, he throws it like you. His style reminds me of you. And I told him, Hoss, you're crazy. Okay, I said that's a ridiculous statement, but
I need to tell Kevin something though. It's refreshing as a one-handed bowler that doesn't like stand left and throw it right like a lot of these guys do now with the high rev rates and two-handers. It's refreshing to see you and your style have the success you're having. Honestly, like I'm not a two-handed hater. I'm not a urethane hater. Well, I am a urethane hater, but I love your style. I love your power game. I love your spare shooting. You're very great spare. I mean, your spares were like, it was immediate, right? Like there was no even question that you were missing any spares on the show. So as a one-handed bowler man to another one-handed bowler man, I appreciated it, and it was a breath of fresh air, honestly.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yo, he's still got 500.
It's
son.
definitely
He's.
I think we're all frozen.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Oh, all right. It went in and then everything stopped.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
So Kevin, so what's on tonight? I mean, are we going out to dinner? Or is it a big dinner? You getting a steak? I mean,
I'm driving 12 hours home.
Disappointing.
Man.
Disappointing.
We're in the.
All right. At least.
I have to go to work tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Calling sick.
Yeah,
Let's go out tonight.
Day. Come on. At least you got to get.
For Portland. Should be almost.
Okay. At least you got good company on the ride home. Yo, listen, we're going to let you get out of here. Me and Rob greatly appreciate you doing this on your way home and everything. But before we let you go, who do you want to thank, man? I'm sure you have some people in mind.
Man, all my sponsors, obviously. I can't do anything without Bolify, Turbo, Genesis, Knight Automotive. Creating the difference, even helped me out with sending me some ball cleaner and some Avalon pads. And I mean, everybody at the Brands of Brunswick, Bolero. I mean, it's just, you can't do anything without the PBA and Bolero support. I mean, for us to be out here, it's just, can't be thankful for everybody. I mean, I can't be more thankful for everybody.
No doubt, man. Absolutely. So listen, man, again, great win. Congratulations. Good luck this week in Florida. We'll obviously be watching.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Kevin McCune, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
I love it, man. Bring the hypeness.
How can you not be? Like, if you're a one-handed player, how could you not be? I mean, he brings that intensity on the show. And Rob, we're gonna get into the idea of intensity on the show later in this conversation, I'm sure. If your thoughts are similar to mine on the show today, but my man brings the intensity, and I think he's going to develop a large fan base because of that. Also, look for my man in the PBA League. Look for him in the PBA League. That's going down. So, Kev, massive win today, man. Congratulations. Safe travels, and we appreciate your time, bro.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man.
Yo,
nice guy to do that for us on his way home.
I know, man. He's got 12 hours of a drive, man. I mean, you got some time to kill a little bit. You might as well talk to the press or the media.
True.
If you want to call us the media or whatever, but
yeah, hardly.
But I really want to stress like his spare shooting, because I don't think that gets ever really talked about a lot. Like, we talk about his strikes, right? But my guy, like, he's on his spare shooting. Like, it was like automatic. Like, he left 10-pin, right? Or 4-pin, 7-pin. And I see in the chat, right? CLT, 10 games on TV. I don't think he missed a spare, like a makeable. I don't recall one, right? I mean, I could be wrong here, but I mean, he's got a really, bright future in the PBA. I mean,
I do think he missed a 10-pin.
Really? I don't remember.
Yeah, today I think so. Yeah.
No.
Did he or did he not?
I don't think so. I didn't see one.
But
Oh, he did miss one. Blake said, okay, he's allowed, right? But the way Buttriff was bowling, he probably could have missed a few, honestly, and he still would have probably had that
I
match.
mean, I was impressed too, though, especially because
Why did I miss that 10? Man, I must have been just checked out.
because it didn't really end up mattering.
Oh, okay. Was it late?
You know, I honestly I don't recall.
I don't
But
either. Ah, weird, huh? Okay.
nonetheless, he's all out too, right? Like every shot he throws, spare and otherwise, is just all out 100%. So
Yeah, but I think, you talk about the money and you talk about the Super Slam and, all this stuff about being the biggest win of his career. But I mean, confidence, and confidence and mental of you winning a title out there. And now you could beat the best. You beat Tackett, you beat Simo, you beat Buttriff, right? Mentally, right? That does so much for a young player whose first title is a major, where you now could step on the lanes, and every time you bring your stuff into that bowling center and you walk through those doors, you could bowl with these guys. You earn your right to be there. And for somebody who, you know, is, winning his first major, that's such a huge deal, like mentally.
yeah, you feel like you belong.
100%. And you earned it. And
Yeah, you feel like you belong, and that's why I said, like, massive win for him in terms of putting his flag in the ground and saying,
everything.
"Hey, I'm here. I belong here. I'm going to be a threat to win on a regular basis." Now, does it always work out that way? No, it doesn't always work out that way. But I mean, this is how we see, careers develop a lot of times. So, but in terms of my saying that this is one of the biggest wins, first wins in PBA history. I mean, the more I think about it, Rob, like, give me an example of one that was bigger. Because again, 100,000 makes the Super Slam, another shot at 100,000, gets into the Tournament of Champions, right? Guaranteed. So that somebody mentioned in the chat earlier. So yeah, listen, like, massive, massive win for him, man. And it's somewhat disappointing that it's the end of the season, right? So he's going to have a pretty long break between, this huge
I
win and
know
next
the
year.
momentum for him would have been amazing to be able to just roll in to another tournament next week, right? Like
Well,
another
he does.
PBA
He
slot.
does. He gets to roll into the Super Slam that's going
Yeah,
on in
but I mean,
Florida
like,
next week. I
he
know.
got
I
a month.
understand what you're saying.
You get
Yeah.
a month after that, right? Where
Yeah, and then
you
there'll be
don't
a
want to
big
stop.
break. Yeah, and you just
You don't
never
want to
know.
stop.
Are you gonna be throwing it the same,
No, when you're
6
bowling
months
good,
from now? And
when
yeah,
these
you want to you
pros
want to capitalize.
when these pros are bowling good, the 1-3 becomes very large, right? And you saw that in like Tackett, right, this year, where he started really hot and he was able to keep that momentum all year because they kept, this was the busiest time in the PBA the last 3 months, right? And if you get hot at the right time early, you saw what Tackett did this year. He rode that momentum and he rode that hot streak into probably one of the arguably greatest years in PBA history, right? Seasons. Um, for McCune to all of us, not all of a sudden, but to win this major at the end of the tour and then take a not the end of it, but you know what I mean, like the
Yeah.
last like couple tournaments and then you have to take a month break. I'm sure he doesn't really care, but you know, for the rest
Well,
of
you'll
the
take the wins where you can get them,
hundred
obviously,
percent.
right? Like,
He's not sitting
but
there going, "Man, I would, I'm pissed that there's, but
yeah,
and
but no, I did think about that, like the
yeah,
timing of this. It's like, okay, you're kind of wrapping things up. You're going to take a long break, but I fully expect him to still capitalize on those ideas that we talked about before, just in terms of confidence and feeling like he belongs, and being able to go out there and kind of be a threat every week to win. All right, Rob. So let's press the reset button for a second, because we
okay.
kind of started where we should have ended, but we had Kevin on. He was nice enough to join us and give us a few minutes of his time, and we wanted to get that in the front of the show for the people. So let's go back and we're going to do our review, and we'll start with running the ladder, which basically is just the final four, because we
Right.
already did the previous shows, right? And we just talked about the show today, and I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit more. But what match do you want to do first? Do you want to do Simo McCune or do you want to do Bill Butcher first? Let's do Simo McCune first.
Okay.
Simo never comfortable.
Nope.
Simo never had a good look.
Yeah, which is weird to me because somebody like in Simo's like his skill set and how good he is and how
His
well
creativity,
his bowling IQ, right? His intelligence,
his
his
ability to
adjust.
adjust and you took the word right out of my mouth and conquer a lane pattern that does not have a definitive way to be successful, right? We've seen him do this before. I mean, he could take urethane and pipe it up 10 on almost anything and have some success,
Right. And
right?
so for him to be able to see these patterns as much as he's seen them, and for him to have bowled on those TV pairs with those, essentially, I mean, you really want to call it the same shot, but yes, the same oil pattern. For him to not get comfortable, to me, was the biggest surprise of the last 4 matches. Or
Oh,
last
no question.
Final 4.
Last 3 matches, right,
Last
of
3
the
matches.
semifinal final
Correct.
weekend.
Mm-hmm.
No question. No, I mean, Rob, no question that was the most surprising thing about this semifinal. I'm going to ask a question here. And my question is this. Do you think that having a PBA tournament in between the quarterfinals and semifinals of this tournament, number one, do you think it's the right thing to do? Number two, do you think it impacts how players perform in this semifinal and final?
That's a good question.
Hold on, I want to answer this question. Blake asked, Big Mike, was the pair they used this weekend the TV pair the same? Yes, it was the exact same pair.
Yeah, they're not gonna move the TV set. Once the TV set is built, that was there all week. I'm assuming,
Yeah,
right?
it was.
They weren't gonna strip it down and then reset it up.
Can I just say though? Oh my God, I forgot. There's so much that I want to get to that I'm not going to get to tonight. Just thoughts from the weekend, and we tailgated on Saturday, and it was just amazing. And you saw the video I sent out of these kids, but the guys from Swarthmore, the smart kids from Swarthmore. If you didn't see that, check our Sweet the Rack podcast Twitter. Rob, there were birthday parties going. There were birthday parties going on in the lower half of the building while they were bowling the shows in the top half of the building this weekend. Literally Saturday afternoon, we are tailgating in the parking lot at 10 a.m. Okay, and around like 11:30, birthday parties start to show up, and moms and kids are walking in with gifts and stuff, and we're out there, and people are slamming beers and taking shots of Crown Royal. And I mean, we're eating breakfast sandwiches in the parking lot. It was just a scene, bro. Like, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry for going off on that tangent, but back to my question. Back to my question.
If that's the only way they could have got that finals on big box on a Sunday, I'm okay with having the Roth Holman doubles tournament in between this tournament and that tournament, because if it fits and the PBA has the ability to make the TV work or the TV times work, then I'm fine with it. Okay. As for the bowlers, I do think it is a little bit not ideal for them to have to bowl this tournament, make the TV shows, and then have to drive to Delaware, bowl the doubles tournament, and then come back,
on
to
two
New
different
Jersey
patterns, in a different building.
A lot of bowling, right? Now if you would ask bowlers, like if we were to ask Bill and get honest answer out of Bill, I don't think it would affected Bill or Kevin or Buttrip. I don't think they would admit it. But I would like to throw that question out because there's only, Bill obviously will give us a right answer if we ask him. If we give him, I'll ask him, I'll call him and just be like, yo, like honest to God, like you think that, but Bill bowled fantastic. I mean, we'll talk about his match. So obviously it didn't affect Bill and it didn't affect Buttriff either. So they all, bowled pretty well. Maybe Simo might have something to say about it. I kind of would like to ask Simo that question since he didn't bowl really. He bowled the worst probably out of the 4 bowlers in this weekend.
Tom Gorman in the chat asked, "What about the travel between?" It wasn't that far, Tom. It was only a couple hours from where they were to where they were going in Delaware. But I don't know. I got to be honest, Rob. I don't like it. I don't whether it affects the bowlers or not. I can't speak to, right? That to me, should it? I don't think so. I mean, I think as a professional athlete, you got to find a way to get locked in no matter where you are, no matter what the environment is, no matter what, really. I mean, look at professional athletes in other sports. Like they fly to other parts of the world and go and, are in a different environment for a couple days, different time zones, sleeping in hotels, etc. But they find a way to lock in and perform. And I do look at bowlers as professional athletes in that regard. And I do expect them to be able to face adversity in those kinds of ways, but still lock in and get it done. But
so I think, to me, I think it really benefited Bill because you got a Bill who's a technician, right? Who didn't have a very good look on that left lane when he beat Russo. He's able to step back, right? And I'm sure he got with his ball reps and he got with his people and he said, hey, okay, how do I conquer this left lane? Maybe they drilled a couple bowling balls, right? And you're able to use your experience being on tour for how long he's been on tour. But, I mean, look, all the other players had the same advantage, right? To be able to step back, have conversations with their ball reps, drill equipment, bowl the Roth home and doubles. But I'm sure there was a lot of talk on what they were going to do on those TV pairs for this weekend. And it really helped Bill. Bill had a great look on that left lane.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just a question that I had. I would prefer to finish it all in one weekend.
Oh, of course.
To be honest,
I mean, that's the ideal. That's the ideal situation.
Right.
But like I said, if the only way they were going to make the big Fox TV show work, maybe that Sunday was the only Sunday they could have done it. Then I mean, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Sometimes the PBA I don't think has really say in.
I would also prefer if they're going to run a tournament in between for a purpose like that they do a singles event as opposed to a doubles event. Because a doubles event, like now the guys who make the semifinals, who make the final 4 and have to wait a week to bowl, right? They feel like if they drop out of that event, they're letting their partner down. Right? But if it's a singles event and they want to choose to drop out of it, they can drop out of it, and that's their choice. They're not impacting anybody.
That's a good
right?
point.
So, I mean, the fact that it was a double suit. Now, you could argue like, oh, well, if they all dropped out, then their partners just could have decided, okay, well, we're going to bowl with each other. But that's not really ideal either. So, I don't know. I understand that it's due to scheduling, and I understand that it's due to what Fox needs the PBA to do. But
I guess my biggest beef is the fact that the Holman Roth doubles wasn't on TV.
Right.
But they gave a ton of airtime to the Players Championship on a lot of those matches. But for me, I think as an entertainment factor, and as well as doubles, I feel like people take more to doubles and team event style tournaments. And I feel bad that it wasn't on FS1, the doubles. That was my biggest beef of just the way it was done the last few weeks.
I saw a comment. I don't know who it was. I didn't bring it up about how is there a birthday party going on while PBA Major is being bowled. Let me be clear. Let me be fair. Let me be clear. Bolero, North Brunswick, aka Carolier, has an upstairs and a downstairs. And it's actually separated by a wall with a sliding glass. It's 82 lanes. It's 82 lanes. Yeah. So it's an upstairs and a downstairs, and there's a separation between and all that. So it's not like they were right on top of each other or anything like that. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too many lanes. I mean, they could have done that, and you don't even notice the birthday parties are on the low end of the house.
So sorry, my computer battery is dying here. I got to make sure I plug it in.
All right, let's
So,
talk Bill
any other
Bush.
thoughts on Simo McCune? I mean, shocking
No,
to see Simo
it
throw a
was.
gutter.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
shocking.
like I said, it just that was the biggest surprise of this current weekend was Simon not getting comfortable when he's very good at getting comfortable very quick when he's uncomfortable. If
And
that makes any sense.
my other thought in that match, I'll end this conversation on this match with this. When Kevin McCune bowled EJ Tackett, he didn't seem to throw it premium in the spots where he really needed it to put his foot on EJ's throat and end that match, right? Now, he ended up winning, but I think that was due more to fortunate breaks, a mediocre shot not being a split, making his spares like we talked about earlier. But, man, let me say, in that match against Simo, every time he needed to get up and throw it good to really apply max pressure to Simo and keep him on the ropes, he threw a great shot. And I recognized that difference in him uh, last weekend to this weekend. But, definitely surprising the way that match went, Rob. The only thing that wasn't surprising about the way things went this weekend is that I had money on both Simo and Bill to win this event from the beginning of the week. So, of course, both of them lost. It could have worked out where I had a guaranteed win in the finals and I get a guaranteed loss instead. So, all right, let's move to Bill Buttriff.
Man, this one hurt.
I mean, did you watch? Did everybody watch? Did you see the crowd? Did you see us in the crowd? Did you see how many people we had?
Yeah, but you know what though, as someone who was watching on TV, you guys, the adults didn't really steal the show for the
No, the
band.
kids did.
It was
the kids
the
did.
kids.
I know, but I'm saying like we had the whole families there. My kids were there. My wife was there.
Yeah.
The Slocums were there. Shout to the Slocums. Christy and the kids were there. I mean,
I saw Todd
and the kids were there. Okay.
But all I'm saying is that hurt. It hurt because after the first match, you thought that Bill was going to have like another match like he had with Russo, where it was just going to be like Bill was going to be on cruise control. And you really, because Buttriff Bowl 170 had just as bad a look as Russo did, it seemed like. Buttriff then switches balls, or he made the ball switch, and then all of a sudden,
to the mindset on the on the left lane, right?
He's Buttriff is a very like
streaky bowler,
but when he gets hot, he's very
when he starts striking, he's going to strike a lot.
He did, and Bill was keeping up with him, and Bill, made maybe two bad shots, I think 2 or 3 bad shots in 2 games, that I could recall. And I was really surprised that Bill actually was carrying as good as he was after his first like 2 or 3 shots. You're like, oh shit, this is going to be one of those.
Well, I think he switched ball, even though he was still throwing the red Black Widow on that right lane. He switched to a different red Black Widow.
Yeah.
At some point, and then he started carrying on that right lane.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. They didn't say that on TV.
I know. So like he went to the back, and I saw him grab it and come out and throw that, and so that made a difference there. I mean, listen, Bill threw it great, and he dominated that first game. But in that second game, man, I have to give Buttriff credit. I do. Like,
he bowled a great game.
He bowled an absolutely amazing game. He made the moves that he needed to make. He kept applying max pressure on Bill, and when Bill got up in the end of that match and really needed a double to keep things close and give himself a shot, he wrong time, wrong place. Ball goes high. I think he left a 3-6, and that kind of really took the pressure off of Buttriff going into the end of that game.
So I want to pull Kevin's because this is going to get talked about, I think, a lot here. Butter's got a fortunate break. We'll talk about that break with that clinching strike, but Bill looked genuinely pissed. He was. I didn't see much of an exchange between them after the match. Was curious about that. Okay. If anybody knows Bill personally, Bill is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet off the lanes. When he's bowling and he's bowling you, he wants your throat. he's very competitive. He's always been like that since we were young. He wants to win, right? And being with his family there and a major, right? For his third major and the money, right? And all these things, when you lose to a bad shot that Butcheriff made, and let's not bullshit here, Mike. Mike, let's not bullshit here.
There
Butcheriff,
is no bullshit here, son.
Butcheriff's shot that he tripped that 6-pin was a awful shot. Butcheriff
Awful.
missed. He missed by at least 3 to 4 boards. I thought it was going Brooklyn, and I was
I
like,
thought it was going high. I didn't think it was going to go Brooklyn, but I definitely thought it was going high.
I thought he was
There
going
was
Brooklyn.
no chance I thought
bad.
that ball was striking.
No, and he caught a break, and at that possible moment, Bill knew how good of a look he had in that right lane, and that he was going to hit the pocket on that right lane. In my opinion, now if he doubled, which is what he needed to win, whole nother story. But you know he was going to at least hit the pocket on that right lane. He had a great look. My question to you is: you probably spoke to Bill. Bill won't have any kind of ill feelings towards Butcheriff. If you know Bill, Bill's not the type to, not have, he's not gonna like not shake his hand. He's not gonna do any of that shit, right? He's not like me. I probably would have fucking walked out of the building. I probably wouldn't have said a word to anybody. But Bill's not the type to have bad sportsmanship. He'll shake his hand. He'll be professional.
He's a professional. Yes.
He is. Yes. He might go into the car and you might kick and scream while he's in the car and nobody's there, but he ain't going to do that in public, especially with his family around, especially with his kids around. That'll never happen.
No, I mean, it was yeah, go ahead.
My question to you is, I see this in the chat and I've seen numerous people have brought this up. Do you like the format of the PBA where they had the 2-game matches with the 9th and 10th frame roll off?
No, it's shit. It's shit.
Okay.
But let me comment on what you said before first. I thought you were going to ask me a question regarding that.
Wait, hold on, Jeff. I got it. This one we got to talk before this. The Fox Sports Specto system showed Butcher's trip 6 was at 17 at the arrows and 9 at the break point, compared to his ideal 15. So it was 2 boards. 2 boards.
No, four boards at the break point.
Oh.
9.8 to 5.7, 4.1 boards.
So I was right. He missed 3 to 4 boards. That's what it looked like from
down the lane. Right,
Mike,
front of the lane. It was 2 boards.
Mike, that is a lot to miss. That whole arrow. It's close to missing by an arrow as you're gonna miss. And for him to still hit the pocket and strike, that's the reason why Bill looked the way he looked.
Oh, I mean, if we saw it, you don't think Bill saw it? I mean,
Bill, that reaction to Bill.
Yeah, that was like
a picture and put it on.
I know. I said that's my second favorite picture of Bill competing ever. The first one's right behind me here over my shoulder. It's right here. But the second one is that one because listen, I mean, he was expressing genuine emotion as a bowler. How many times have we all done the same thing where you bowl somebody?
Oh my goodness, Mike!
Oh, you were the worst, son. You were the worst.
I would have walked.
Don't cross over on Rob. Don't cross over on Rob because you were going to hear about it. Rob was going to get up on the next shot and say, "Throw it like that, Hoss. Strike like that."
Real strikes.
You were too
real
much.
strikes.
You were too
real
much.
strikes. Oh my goodness! But anyway, Mike, let's talk about the format.
Yeah, the format. I don't. No, I'm not a fan, man.
What would you do differently if you were the PBA next year?
So listen, like this was the same format as the playoffs. Okay, but here's the difference: the playoffs are not a major title. All right, and I'll be honest, I don't really want a major title decided by a 9th and 10th frame roll off.
Okay, fair point. So what would you do?
I don't think that's to the standard of a major title.
So would you be okay with total? 2 total games, total pins?
Total wood I'd be okay with. I'd rather see at least. I mean, the one thing I'm okay with is doing changes to the format from round to round.
Okay.
Right. So in round 1 of this tournament, it was one game. And then in round 2, it went to the 2-game total, 2-game race. Then it was 2-game race, then best of 5, right?
Okay.
I don't have too much of a problem of like doing it differently in different rounds. But ideally, what I would like to see is a straight up best of 3.
But
If you want to do the
TV
race
time, they don't have the TV time to do that, Mike. You can't do that. You can't have 2-3-game matches.
well, listen. At a certain point,
they have to like adjust their format like to the TV time, right? They know that they're not. So if they want 2-game matches, it's going to have to be total pins, unless you're going to have a 2-frame roll off to decide a 1-1. You know what I mean? Now, if they tie total pins, which would be crazy, then maybe you think about going into like a 2-frame roll off. But a 2 total pins, I think people could live with that more than losing in a 9th and 10th roll off.
Yeah, and certainly for a major. I'm talking about a major here. I'm not, regular title, you want to use this format, go right ahead. PBA playoffs were awesome. PBA playoffs were awesome because it was $100,000. They were bowling for serious money,
right?
And the format lent itself to excitement, but it wasn't a major title, and I feel like some of that gets lost in the shuffle in terms of the history of the game. I definitely don't think somebody said 3 games total pins. Nah, that's too much. That's not enough drama. If you're going to,
Masters.
That's why best of 3 like creates some drama. But could we even
How about
do
this, Mike? How about this? How about
frame?
this? How you like this idea? David Tolson writes there should be 2 pairs going at the same time. That would be interesting. I think they could do it. They've done that before, right? 2 matches at the same time, and you do best of 3 on both matches, and you have it going. I actually really like that idea, David.
I like that a lot, David. I like that a lot. I mean, I would rather have more action than less. Because look at today. Like, it was a blowout in all 3 games.
Don't get me started on today.
But listen, to wrap up Buttriff and Bill, it was a super. It didn't turn out the way we wanted, right? Bill's a professional athlete; he handles it like a professional. It was amazing. It was really special for me, and for him, and I think for the vast majority of the people that we were with. For all of us to be able to be there and watch him with all of our kids and his family and everybody, and it was just awesome. You don't know when you're going to get these opportunities. You don't know how many of these opportunities you're going to get. I hope that the PBA tour decides to come back to Carolier on a more regular basis. I think that even though the crowds weren't what they used to be, I think the shows were good this weekend, and I think that the fans that showed up did give them a reason to come back. But yeah, just to wrap up Bill's performance, I'm super excited that he made a run in this event, and it was awesome to be able to watch him. And disappointed things didn't go our way there, but it is what it is. I mean, that's bowling. So, all right, Rob, we move on to the final match today. I mean, there's not a lot to say. I don't feel like. Here's the angle that I want to talk about. And before I even say this, I want to clarify and mention something about the 76ers today. Okay. Because I'm watching the 76ers today, and they got blown out in Game 7. And their star players played like trash. Okay. Like didn't even show up, right? And I watch a podcast that covers the Sixers. The guy who does it has been on our show, Spike Eskin. Yep, Spike, and it's the Right to Ricky Sanchez podcast. And if you go on their YouTube and you look at the broadcast they just did, okay, people were absolutely not only the host of the podcast, but the people in the chats were absolutely just crushing Embiid and Harden and the whole entire team and Doc Rivers for their performance today, for their performance over the course of the season, etc.
Okay.
And I had a thought to myself, right?
Okay.
I had a thought to myself.
I'm waiting for the bowling comparison here.
Okay, here it is. Some people get upset at us, Rob. Some people get upset at us because
half the bowling world
because we come on this podcast and we give our honest fan perspective opinions of what happens on the lanes, right? And
Right.
in order for us to do that and do it in a real way, sometimes we're going to have to be critical of the bowlers.
Correct.
People get upset, and I see what people say about professional athletes in other sports and how they crush them, and I think to myself, man, like, could these guys handle that kind of criticism? I mean, this is the level of criticism that professional athletes in general are exposed to. And
100%.
I don't think what we're doing here ever rises to that level. Okay. But to me, perhaps some people in the bowling world should be happy that there's people out there actually caring enough and being passionate enough about what they're watching to come and analyze it in the way we do, or the way our the way our people do here.
So here's the thing.
So with that said, hold on. With that said, Jacob Buttriff's performance today was just lacking killer instinct. It was lacking a real will to win. To me, it reminded me of what the Sixers did today.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
All
I
right.
don't.
Tell me why. Tell me what you saw from him that says otherwise.
I just saw somebody who looked very good in the previous shows, and I don't think he did a very good job breaking his pair down the way he wanted to, and he was struggling with his ball reaction. He was struggling with his shot making. I don't think it was a technically a will to win. I think it was just somebody who just struggled. And I've said this on Twitter, you know, in previous shows, when you have a one game match on the step ladder and you're struggling, you have one game and you're done. You pack your shit up, you leave. When you have a format that is best 3 out of 5, and you're struggling and you can't find anything as a bowler, we've all been in that situation, Mike. You've been in that situations. I've been in that situation. It's not been on TV, but it's been in our everyday bowling lives. Everybody in this chat who bowls has been in the same situation. The problem is now you're struggling and you have a minimum of 3 games on this pair, and you have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even millions of people watching you struggle for 3 games. And regardless of what you do, your adjustments, you just don't have it. And you have 3 games on a national spotlight of you having to struggle. And to me, that's the worst possible place you can be in as a bowler.
All right, but here's my question to that. I agree. I agree with what you said. But here's my question to that. And here's why I'm not looking at it that way. How does that happen? Like, you're bowling a best of 5 match on a pair. You're a lefty, your opponent's a righty, and like, you got an opportunity to go out and practice and pretty much break them down the way you want them. You've bowled in this place now for 2 weeks. Okay, this is like your third or fourth match that you're bowling here. Okay, how does that happen?
What happened to Simo? Oh, I think I lost Mike. I don't know. Look, like, it was a struggle for Buttriff today. I feel really bad for Buttriff that had to go through 3 games. Simo was struggling. Oh, sorry, I lost you. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
I said it happened to Simo.
There's other righties though.
So why don't you? Yeah, but why don't you?
There's other
say
right.
that?
Hold on.
So do you think
That's not
Simo
true.
was will to lose too? His will to win?
No, that's not true. That's not true. So I'll make a couple points. Number one, on that TV pair, all the bowlers get to come and practice on the TV pair after they're done. Okay, after they run them. So Simo had other traffic on that pair while he was practicing, while he was warming up, etc. Buttriff didn't. And like,
so maybe the traffic helped Buttriff.
Well, I don't think Buttriff had the traffic previously either.
But righty traffic.
The day before, he was the only lefty. Now, if you want to say here's another way that I could look at it. All right, if you want to say Buttriff assumed they were going to break down and be the exact same breakdown, etc., as what they were the previous day, and he guessed wrong on that, and that put him in a position where he was lost. All right, I feel you on that. I could easily see that happening, right? However, I'll make another disassociation between Buttriff and Simo here, and that's that. To me, Simo tried everything he could, bro. He switched balls 4 or 5 times in that match, looking for every shot he got up there. He was trying something different. Buttriff wasn't. But that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. It kind of felt to me like he was going through the motions somewhat, And McCune, and listen, to me it stuck out even more, and I'm going to tell you why, because of McCune's intensity from the jump. McCune, his intensity was much higher, his execution was much better. And who do you expect that to be in a match like this, where you got a guy who, if he wins, he's making the Hall of Fame, and you got another guy who's bowling for his first title? So I expect the opposite. Expect the opposite, honestly. And listen, Rob, we've talked about this with Buttriff before. He seems to lack that killer instinct. Like, I'm gonna dig deep, and I don't care if I don't got it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to find something. I'm going to execute it, and I'm going to force this guy to deal with the pressure, right? We've seen many, many other greats in the game do things like that at times, right? And this got me thinking today a little bit about other bowlers, past bowlers, right? Hall of Fame bowlers in the PBA. And I tried to think of guys who are Hall of Fame players that I never really saw bring a throat-crushing intensity to the lanes at some time in their career. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Like, if I read you through a list of like more recent Hall of Famers, right? Let me give you some names: Wes Malott, okay, Tommy Jones, Patrick Allen, Mika Barnes, Steve Hoskins, Mike Scroggins, Brian Goebel, Doug Kent, Danny Wiseman, Jason Couch, Randy Peterson, Norm Duke, Del Ballard Jr., Parker Bone. I mean, do I need to keep going? Right? Like, can't you recall just hearing those names, times where those guys just brought a super level of intensity to the lanes and just even fought through real adversity, to win. And Jimmy's in the chat. Jimmy, what's good? I got to meet Jimmy this weekend, Rob. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But all killers, he says. All killers, right? I'll give you two names. One I mentioned there, Mike Scroggins. Another one, Mark Williams. Those are the only two guys on the list of PBA Hall of Famers that I can think of that, to me, I don't ever remember exhibiting like that killer instinct on a regular basis, right? So I don't think it's unprecedented, but it's definitely noticeable. I mean, even after, like, he took a picture on social media with McCune with like a face where he was, frowning and McCune smiling, and like, listen, it's cool. It's cool. Like, I understand everybody is cool out there and friendly, and when they even asked the other players who's the most positive person on tour, a lot of them said him. And I give him tons of credit for that, because it's hard for me to be positive. But yeah. But listen, I mean, as a professional athlete, as somebody who's out there competing for tens of thousands of dollars and titles and legacy and things of that nature, I don't know, man. I just think that when you step between the lines, you got to be willing to find that level and like Jimmy said, be a killer. Be a killer out there. Any thoughts, Rob?
Yeah. I knew you were going to bring this up, and I did see Buttriff's post. I personally would never do that. If I lose, I am shaking my opponent's hand. I'm telling him good game.
And I'm out.
And I'm out of there. Even if I'm friends with that person,
I'm out. I don't want to watch them
I don't want
celebrate.
to see them.
I don't want to have a drink.
I'm done with
out.
that. I'm not putting a social media post up. I've criticized him for that in previous episodes we've had about that part of it. The killer instinct is not for everybody. Not everybody is hardwired with the killer instinct, Mike. Brian Boss, right? You want to talk killer instinct? Brian Boss, to me, like if I were to make a top 5 PBA bowlers of all time of people who would step on your throat and not give a shit, Brian Boss is one of them. Pete Weber is probably the other one, right? You would never see Pete Weber put up a social media post after losing to, he would. I mean, he's cursed at his opponent's wives in the crowd.
I mean, I was gonna say, watch the documentary, A League of Ordinary Gentlemen.
So
like after
I want to bring up Henry.
After he loses the final to Walter Ray, he goes backstage and slams his bowling balls down, is cursing, and I mean,
Henry, this has nothing to do with Butters beating Bill. Okay, we've criticized Butters for this. Butters had a shit performance today, and we are criticizing his performance. He didn't have a good performance on the lanes today.
Henry, if you were listening to our last segment, if you're being fair and you were listening, I hope you're joking, because if you were being fair and you were listening to our last segment, we just gave Buttriff credit for how he bowled against Bill and how he came back in that second game and the changes that he made in that second game. And I also want to say this. Kevin in the chat says, how much is it killer instinct versus only has one wrist position, one ball speed, and won't make moves?
I don't think.
I don't know, Kevin. I got to be honest. Like, I think that's a little bit wrong.
Unfair.
I disagree with that take, and here's why. There's a lot of lefties out there that we could criticize for only being one dimensional.
Oh,
Rob will talk for a half hour about it if you want, but I'm not going to put Buttriff on that list. Are you, Rob? Certainly not. I'm not going to put him on that list. I mean, does he have a unique game? Yes, that allows him to do some things that other guys can't do. Absolutely, but I do think that he's more versatile. More versatile. But yes, I mean, if you want to sum up my point, I think Jimmy does a great job here summing it up from the Ring of 10. McCune was not afraid of Buttriff today.
But
he wasn't at all. And again, Mike, is that what you expect when it's a guy who bowling for his first title versus a guy who's on the verge of making the Hall of Fame?
No, and people keep bringing up the fact that it was Mother's Day, and unfortunately, we know that Buttriff lost his mother, and that's a sad deal with that. But Buttriff won a regional title on Mother's Day in 2021. So, and you want to look up, he won his 27th regional title. So he's won before on Mother's Day. I think we've seen other athletes win on Father's Day and Mother's Day after losing, their mom or their dad. I don't think really that was the case. I just think he just couldn't get matched up. He couldn't figure out how to hit the lanes were different today for him.
Yeah, it's just hard. Like I said, it's hard for me to believe that. I don't know. I mean, you breaking them down yourself. I gave my reasons. So I hear you on that. I accept your argument on that. I think it's a fair point. I'm not saying you're completely wrong. It's just not the way that I viewed, what went on out there today.
Yeah, I think he just made wrong decisions, and unfortunately, we had to watch 3 games of him struggling. And like I said before, he was in a bad situation. Usually, you have 1 game and you're out of there. Unfortunately, you have 3 games. He fell victim to the format, unfortunately for him, and for the fans too. It was a tough show for the fans to watch. It was it was a boring show just due to the fact that it wasn't competitive, and it was just, we were all victim of the format in the best 3 out of 5. I'm not against that format, because if you have 2 bowlers at their A game bowling their best,
love that format.
Each other, if they go to game 5, Mike, and it goes down to the 8th, 9th, or 10th frame, you could be seeing a lot of drama. You could see a lot of craziness go down in the last half of a game 5.
Love that format too, because it lends itself to betting.
Yeah. So,
You know,
unfortunately for us, it wasn't.
Robert Hamilton in the chat says, once Butters won the semis, I already factored in McCune winning. Robert, can I ask you why? Why did you feel that way? Right, here's another comment I liked from DJ Marshall in the chat. Nobody wants to bowl for 100K and have to face a lefty with a purple hammer. McCune put on an impressive performance, amazing spare shooting, future superstar for show. I like the first part of that. I agree. You know, he has a chance, but who wants to face a left? Who are you more scared of than a good lefty with a purple hammer? You know, I mean, so to me, it was like there just should have been a more aggressive. I'm gonna give you what you wanted vibe from Buttriff here. You know, and
So
he
let me pull
really
this up
didn't
because
show up.
there was comment here from Tom Gorman. Stone and Peterson had a whole half hour to fill. See, they should be prepared for this, right? In my opinion, as you know, the TV went, and they should be prepared for a 3-game match. And in my opinion, that's when maybe they should have shown the Hoth the Holman Roth doubles championship, right? Baker game, right? It would have been a perfect time to fill that slot with that game. They should have re-aired that for the fans to watch, something in that nature, instead of having to listen to Randy and Rob try to kill a half hour. But anyway, yeah. So look, Mike, John Stevenson writes, "What's new in formats for 2024?" Whatever Tom Clark can come up with, whatever brainchild he can think of in the offseason, I guess we're going to kind of
Yeah,
find out.
well, the real answer to that, and the reason I brought that up is because, you know, what I'm thinking is like every year Fox is going to come to the PBA and say, all right, well, we need you to do shows for this date, this date, this date, this weekend, this weekend, this weekend. And then the PBA is going to have to completely remodel and remold what they do every year, format wise and event sequence wise, and what's live and what's not, and what's actually televised and what's so like, is this where we're going with the future of Fox? You know, I don't know. Like when we started out with Fox, I felt like bowling was being given some kind of priority. But now I feel like, is it just being used as filler? You know, and is this where it's going to end up? Where like, oh, okay,
Bowling will always be a filler.
Fox just controls the schedule, and we're
Mike,
just going to do whatever we got to do to make that work. But okay.
At this point, we have to accept the fact that bowling is going to be a filler. It's bowling, Mike. I hate to
Oh my
say
God,
it.
this must have been a good tournament because we're in overtime already. All right, let's go. We got more to do here. Let's do our categories here, Rob. We went over all the matches. We ran the ladder. I see you, Hoss. I mean, really, there's one clear choice, right? And that's Kevin McCune because this is his first title. But
yeah, I feel like I have another nominee for ICU Haas.
Go ahead.
Keiko, ICU Haas.
Okay,
Keiko
he's won ICU Haas earlier in the year when he made the U.S. Open too.
Yeah, I like Keiko. Had a great tournament, finished in 5th. You know, had another great showing on TV. I feel like he's one of those guys who's going to keep chopping away, and he's going to break through. It's going to happen. Might not be this year, but I feel like next year he might be my pick, like McCune was this year, to win a title next year.
Fair enough. My honorable mention there, if you wanted me to go in a different direction, would be Zeke Bate. Zeke Bate, Bolt, has been out there for a while this season. Haven't really seen his name near the top, but had a really good week. I see you, Hoss. I'd also say Trevor Roberts.
Oh yeah,
I see you, Hoss. I mean, he bowled really good this week. I watched him. I love his game, and I watched him a lot this week when I was over there, and he bowled really well. So I would have a couple honorable mentions there too. All right, let's go. Milk Carton.
He was actually in our chat. JD Santalucia, even though he bowled and he withdrew. That's my milk card, man. Sunrise Shootout. Nobody knows about that when he was 17 years old. East Coast.
Is that where he bowled Mike Eaton? Is that where he bowled Mike Eaton?
So, yes, when he was 17.
On that show, and shout to JD. Okay, I'm not criticizing here, but he started out with a gutter on that show, if you remember.
He did, and I remember he
Yep.
had like his whole like fans. Yo,
Yep.
East Coast action bowling legend JD Santalucia, my guy, gets milk car, man, for coming out of the woodwork, putting on the shoes. Love to see it.
No doubt. Absolutely. My milk carton is going to be Kenny Ryan.
Ooh, Kenny
Kenny
Ryan.
Ryan.
All
Kenny
right.
Ryan, hadn't seen his name a lot this year. I know Kenny personally, watched him bowl high school around the area here. He's from Jersey. Hadn't seen his name much this year, and I was kind of wondering, like, is he bowling competitively? Is he not? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, I see his name pop up for the players, and I saw him over there, gave him a shout, told him, hope all is well, etc. So I wanted to give Kenny Ryan milk carton just because I hadn't seen that name in a while. All right, where you want to go?
Let's go with we'll save dumpster diving for last. Let's go ride with, not ride with. Ride with, there's only one answer, because guess what, Mike? We actually did ride with Kevin McCune earlier in the show.
We did. You're right. We did. So it would be,
my ride is going
literally
with Kevin McCune. We literally rode with him. If you guys just tuned in, we had Kevin McCune on the first 15, 20 minutes of the show. That's probably why we're going to overtime tonight. Riding with Kevin and his girlfriend. Unfortunately, his girlfriend's not calling in sick to work tomorrow, but we were riding with him. His girlfriend would be calling in sick tomorrow, and we'd be going out tonight in the town.
True. My ride with, I didn't go McCune. I went Packy and Kevin Williams.
Oh, so you're okay.
And here's why. Because I'm taking into consideration that it's the end of the season, right? Most guys are going home for the end of the season, right? They're done, so they're going home for a long period of time. Packy won 2 titles this year. Okay, just almost broke the 12-game scoring record. Just won a doubles title with Mitch Hoope. He's probably going to be in the car too, just because they won the doubles together. So it's probably going to be Packy, Hoope, and Williams. And Packy and Williams always seem to travel together. And Kevin Williams, he had a great week this week. Made the show at the Players. Made the show at a major. He always seems fun to hang out with. I know I'm going to enjoy the music in that car. So, all in all, I'm riding with Packy and Kevin Williams.
I could just think about riding with Packy in the mystery van. Hot boxing the mystery van. Just him and Hoope in a mystery van. Oh my goodness!
Like a Scooby-Doo crew. Yeah. Okay.
Just hot boxing the mystery van, getting all stoned, talking about their bowling stories, man. That would be a great ride with. Who am I not riding with, Mike? Oh man, who am I not? I'm not riding with Kyle Troop. Kyle Troop has had a disappointing year this year, I think. And I guarantee you, we had him on and we talked to him. I guarantee you he would probably say the same thing, just in general. He's normally makes major shows. I think he started out the season making a show, and then I don't think we've really seen a lot of Kyle Troop this year. So I expect Kyle Troop to make shows when being competitive for a major these days. And we just didn't see a lot of Kyle this year.
Okay, my not ride with is again based on the idea that it's the end of the season. A lot of guys are traveling home after this, and some of these guys have had a long season. Let's be honest. You come out here, you travel long distances, you don't bowl well, you don't perform well, you don't make money, you don't make shows, etc. So based on all of this, my not ride this week is Kim Bowleby. Kim Bowleby, because I know Kim Bowleby has been out here for a minute, bowling PTQs, bowling events when he can, bowling stuff on the weekends that I see his name in. And he's got to travel back to like Asia, and that's a far ride, bro. And after the season he's had, that's got to be an even longer ride. And I would not want to have to take that ride back to Asia with Kim Bowleby. I mean, I would imagine that's going to be a pretty miserable commute on the way home. So that would be my pick for not ride with. Now, I gotta give an honorable mention here, and here's why. And I have an interesting question for you, Rob. If I told you that Stu Williams, Dom Barrett, and Chris Barnes all travel in the same car together, you tell me what's the seating arrangements in that car? Who's driving? Who's in the passenger seat, like controlling the radio, controlling the temperature, and who's riding in the back? You tell me. What are your thoughts?
I will believe that Dom Barrett is in the passenger seat sleeping.
Okay.
I would think Chris Barnes is driving because Chris Barnes is kind of a control freak and needs to
Okay.
be driving. And Stu Williams is in the back, yelling.
How do you put the big guy in the back, bro?
The whole back seat? He could like.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. As a big guy myself, I got to say I want that shotgun seat. But
Maybe.
Interesting story that I happened to be pulling into the parking lot of Carolier on Saturday morning, Saturday morning.
You saw them in the car
to watch Bill Bowl.
Okay.
And who's pulling out? But Stu and Dom and Barnes.
Okay.
And I look over and I see the car, and I recognize all three of them in the car. And I got to be honest, I could not believe what I saw. I could not, so much so that I had to text Stu and ask him, yo, did I just see what I think I saw? And here's what I saw. It was Stu driving, Dom in the passenger seat, and they put the doctor in the back seat. The doctor's like 6'3", 6'4". Okay? Have you ever met Barnes in person? All right? And they put him in the back seat. And Nico, let's be clear. Nico's saying they were driving a truck. This must have been a rental because they weren't driving a truck. This looked like a small sedan. So I got to give them honorable mention on not ride, because if they put Dr. Barnes in the back seat, they're putting my ass in the trunk. So I ain't riding with them ever, because that's just the wrong seating arrangement in that car. Sorry.
All right, Mike. Let's go to the next.
Spare shooter.
Ooh.
EJ Tackett.
Oh, because he
EJ Tackett. Yeah, he missed. I mean, missed easy spare.
I'm going with Buttriff for missing those two spares today. Especially, I think it was in the key. It was in like game 3 when the last place you want to do that.
It wouldn't have mattered though.
I'm also giving an honorable mention to Sean Rash. Even though our awards are usually for the tournament we're talking about, Sean Rash deserved spare shooter for the last game of the finals of the Roth Holman doubles when he missed a 2-4-8 by an arrow, and then the next frame that he bowls, which was the 9th, misses a 10-pin for them to lose the title. So Sean Rash, I had to put there in spare shooter. It wouldn't be fair if he wasn't in that award.
Okay, dumpster diving gold medal.
I have co-winners because they finished right and back to back of each other. Stu Williams, Wes Malott.
Okay.
Finished 105th and 106th at the Players' Championship out of 128 people.
Okay.
So those get my co-winner dumpster divers.
I gave it to Christian Azcona. Just again thinking about not only this week but the whole season, I feel like he struggled. He's gotten multiple dumpster diving gold medal awards this season. Not a good thing. So I would give it to him. But all right, so Rob, that's our rundown of the event. We broke it down for the people. I guess we will do a breakdown of the Super Slam at some point, maybe by next weekend. With the end of the PBA season coming, I would assume we're going to go back to once a week.
Yes, sir.
Right? We'll probably go back just to Thursdays or just Sundays, or maybe we can pick and choose week to week what works for us. So we'll keep the people updated on that. Do you have any final thoughts here, Rob, before we log off with the people?
I did, but I watched the PWBA finals last night. Great job to Emil and I believe it was Sydney Brummett, who I love in the booth. She gives amazing analysis It was a great show. Shouts to Jordan Richard for winning. She, I believe, climbed the ladder. No, she didn't climb the ladder. I'm sure Nico will correct me. I don't want to get a PWBA fact wrong here. No, she didn't, because Brianna bowled the first match, and then Jordan Richard bowled the second match. I can't stress enough how great women's bowling is for a traditionalist like myself. To watch them bowl and actually, like, Jordan Richard was probably the biggest power player of the show. And just the way they have to make moves, ball changes, all the adjustments that were going on in that stepladder finals last night. As a bowling traditionalist and bowling, bowler myself, was really fun to watch. And I really stress people that since PBA is going to be going, a little bit, is going to a slower time, the PWBA will be ramping up the next 3 months, and we will be talking a lot about it. But anyway, that's my final thought. Great show last night. Shouts to Jordan Richard for doing what she did, just making adjustments, making moves, and winning that title. I believe it was up in Washington, I believe.
Agreed. I love watching the PWBA action when I can as well. All right, Rob, my final thought is this. I came across a real interesting interview today from our guy, Bowling with the Fef, who was nice enough to have us on. We had him on. I love what he does out there. I try and watch his content whenever I can. And really interesting interview. And I'm not going to go on a big rant here. I refuse to go on a big rant here.
Please
But
don't.
I'm going to say this. Sometimes the world has a way of showing me when I'm right or wrong about something. And I believe that what I'm about to share with all of you is an instance of that. Okay? Given my rant the other night on the show. So, Rob, if you'd be kind enough to bring up that video. This is an interview with Norm Duke and Fef. We're only going to play a small piece of it here. You should go check out the whole thing, and you should also subscribe to Fef's channel. He's sponsored by Chip Magnet Salsa. I'll mention that too. Give them a shout since they're sponsoring something that has to do with bowling. And go ahead, Rob, play it. Let's hear what Norm Duke has to say.
Let me know if you could hear it.
And you see these kids because you're seeing them signing bowling pins and things like that, but you're also seeing them bowl a little bit, I would assume.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah. Tell me what you think about the state of high school bowling, junior bowling. You've been here for this. You were at the state tournament in Wisconsin.
Sure.
What do your eyes tell you?
Well, to tell you the truth, the sport of bowling is in great hands with the kids. They are demanding a harder environment. They're demanding sports conditions. They do not like to be gifted anything, and they know the difference. Some of them are two-handers, and they're power players galore. Some of them aren't. They are down and inners. Some of them, just every style you can imagine. But the main thing is it's bowling. Stay behind the line, knock them down. Two-hander here and a one-hander bowling against each other. You'd never know the difference except one takes their hand off a couple steps before the other. It is enlightening to me to know that the sport of bowling is in growth mode again. We went through about a 30-year period, and bowling is like that, about 30-year cycles, in which we weren't doing very good. And I think the reason is because it was just too easy. You play checkers for life. Chess for life.
Mm-hmm.
You play checkers for a couple of days. And I think that we got caught into that, where the proprietors are saying, look, I can't compete with the other bowling centers in town unless I have a great, great condition that produces all these honor scores. But the net effect of that, I think, was they're not going to train. They're not going to practice as much. They're going to be totally upset when they're not doing good. We didn't train them near as good as the kids are being trained right now. And I tell you what, they're going to take bowling, put it on their shoulders, and they're just going to march it. And I love it.
Yeah.
Say it for the people in the back, Norm. Say it for the people in the back. Mike, thoughts? I know you got a lot of thoughts here.
Do I have to say anything?
I know, because Norm said it well, and he spoke. Literally said what you've been saying for the last years in a matter of literally a minute and a half.
And listen, Norm Duke is one of the GOATs. Okay.
You play, the quote of the year, Mike, is you play checkers for 3 days. You play chess for what
life.
did he say? A life.
For life.
Oh, that's amazing quote.
Could you put it any better? I mean, Norm Duke is one of the GOATs, son. Okay. I can't put it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I can put it better than Norm Duke, but I'm going to tell you this. I can summarize what he just said. And he said that the reason bowling has been declining and dying over the last 30 years is because the game became too easy. I'm going to leave it at that, Rob. Listen, if you gave me shit, go on your shit podcast and give Norm Duke shit.
I like it.
Talk
All right,
everybody later. Hit us up on social media. I'm at the 215. He's at Brooklyn Rob 11. Hit our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Hit us through email, sweeptherack@gmail. We love getting the emails from the people. Rob, I don't know about you. I'm running out of rosin bags. In fact, shout to I wish I had the name handy on me. I don't. Shout to the young lady that came up to me at the show this weekend. Rob purchased 3 rosin bags from us. Asked me to autograph one, son. Somebody asked me to autograph a rosin bag for them, and she told me that her boyfriend was more disappointed that he couldn't come because he knew I was gonna be there than he was actually missing the show. I mean, shout to those folks. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the support from everybody. Hit us up. We'll let everybody know what our plans are in terms of our next show, perhaps Thursday, maybe next Sunday. We got to take a look at the TV schedule for this Super Slam event and see how that goes. And want to thank Norm Duke. Norm, couldn't agree with you more, bro. Peace, people. Take it easy.
Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.